Did Elon Musk have the foresight of what's to come when he built that unconventional, or some would call it ugly, Cybertruck? Did he know that's the only way out?
Out of what, you ask? The only way out of China taking over the world.
But let's see if you come to the same conclusion. If you look at any powerful country, what's one thing they all have in common? That's right, they all built their own cars. The automotive industry has its roots deeply embedded in the Great Industrial Revolution. It played a pivotal role in shaping nations such as the US, Germany, Japan, France, Italy, and the United Kingdom. In the 80s and 90s, the US built cars with large engines. American cars were known for their sheer size and power.
Please, for your safety and the safety of others, please do not sit, stand, ride, or play on any of the baggage claim devices.
I'll never forget when I came to this country. I asked my American co-worker, James, how come everybody drives a big pickup truck over here, but nobody has anything on their loading bed?
Because we can.
And he was right about that. On my very first trip to the gas station in the US, I had to pump gas, and I also bought a bottle of water. The gas price was 97 cents for 1 gallon, and for 1 liter of water I paid $1.40.
Gasoline is cheaper than water over here.
A bottle of water is about 4 times as much.
No way!
Yeah. German cars were famous for their German engineering. What does that mean? Well, back then, Germans were known for their precision machining. They could squeeze out the last horsepower of an engine that was much smaller than its American counterpart. Tight tolerances and precision machining defined German engineering and design. And Japanese cars were known for their fancy technology. They had things in their cars back then that you see in modern cars of today. The Chinese automotive industry, on the other hand, was always considered to be a little bit behind. And therefore it was never seen as a threat by anyone. People just prefer cars that are made in the US, in Japan, or in Europe. They value safety and status, reliability, quality, and service. And let's not forget that 0 to 60 mark you see every time a new car is released. And this brings us to Tesla, a company that was totally underestimated by all the big car companies. Nobody expected Tesla to be the #1 electric car company with the most vehicles sold, at least for a moment, because now they're #2 behind the Chinese company.
That's right, Elon Musk's Tesla is about to lose its crown. And who's the new king? China's BYD.
In the last couple years, there was a big green movement with all kinds of crazy stunts, including gluing yourself to the street.
Do you regret the gluing? Are you
yeah, it's not one of my better moves. Yes.
I don't think that this kind of idiotic behavior changed anything. Still, the movement was too big to just being ignored by the politicians. So something had to be done. Especially the younger generation wanted to see change. But politicians couldn't just directly attack the oil tycoons because the fossil fuel industry is too influential and powerful. So, instead of properly funding alternative energy research, they went the easier route and jumped on the electric car bandwagon. Looking back, they may have shot themselves in the foot by doing it. So now car manufacturers around the world not only needed to show that they're also concerned about the climate, but they're actually forced to sell up to 65% of all new vehicles sold as electric vehicles by 2030. Depending on the country, which is like shooting yourself in the other foot. And now, because in pretty much every country politicians made the same carbon target agreements, every car manufacturer is more or less forced to go electric. What does that mean for the automotive market and the oil industry? Let's not forget, the oil industry was also a big factor of the economic growth in this country. Because it looks like the new black gold, as oil is sometimes referred to, will be the materials to build all the needed batteries for all these electric vehicles. And guess who has the most raw materials needed for battery production? Yeah, China. Like I said earlier, China has been building cars since the 1950s, but was never a leader with their combustion engines. But with the electric vehicles, that looks a lot different. Have you seen some of these electric cars coming from China? And have you seen the price tag on them? You can get an electric car with all the bells and whistles for less than half the price of what you pay here. China has been working really hard in building trust and making ordering and shipping directly from China as easy and convenient as possible. Even the most patriotic of Americans have ordered from China by now.
This is The Price is Right.
For now, it's mostly cheap stuff, but it builds trust and customer relations. And with China being the leader in electric cars, if we now re-evaluate the reasons why people prefer cars from the US, Europe, or even from Korea, like safety. Safety is a big factor why people buy cars from Sweden or Germany. But safety will become less and less of a concern, because once all these cars drive itself and have all the drive assistance, and especially once they start to communicate between each other. I made an entire video on that topic if you want to check it out. Then cars will rarely even crash anymore. But what do you think sells better?
14 airbags to protect you and your loved ones in case of an accident.
Or,
With our self-driving vehicles, the chance that you're ever involved in an accident are 0.01%.
granted we're not there yet. But with the commitment to have mostly EVs on the street by 2030, that's in 6 years, so we're not that far from it. These self-driving programs are constantly updated and improved. With every accident there's another case to learn from, to train the model and to avoid the same thing from happening again. And then there is the status. Are younger generations as loyal to their brands as their parents? Or are younger generations just fine buying the cheaper car, with all the bells and whistles for a fraction of the price that they would have to pay for a car that is made in Germany? And then there is the aging generation. They just want to drive into their 80s and 90s, and self-driving brings that possibility. But they need simple and easy, big, bulky buttons like they have on their remote controls and on their cell phones. As simple as possible.
There's a little ratchet here where you can get it to the size of your drink.
Which at least for now eliminates anything made in Germany, because their whole motto is, let's make it as complicated as possible. Education is free over there, so everybody's an engineer.
Wouldn't really want to make it too simple.
Reliability. Electric cars don't really have that many components on there that will leave you stranded on the side of the road. How often have you seen a Tesla on the side of the road? Besides being on fire.
I saw smoke coming from the bottom.
Or running out of power.
So how long you need to charge it up? You good?
Service. Elon Musk has already successfully demonstrated that you don't need a fleet of dealerships and service centers. Electric cars don't need oil changes. And in the near future, your car will drive itself to the service to get its brake replaced or whatever. In the middle of the night, and it will be back in your garage in the morning. Quality? That is one field where China will have to step it up a notch. And that 0 to 60 measure? Well, as an Austrian, I have to make a skiing comparison. In the 80s, there were often seconds of time gaps between the winner and the second or third place on the podium. However, with improved ski technology, aerodynamics, and training techniques, now the difference between sometimes even the first 10 finishers is only milliseconds or microseconds. And the same will eventually happen with electric cars. Nobody's even gonna talk about 0 to 60 anymore. The torque of an electric motor right off the start is so extreme, it will eventually become uncomfortable, these crazy accelerations.
Oh my god! What?
And there won't be that much difference between car manufacturers, because these electric motors, they aren't that different. Did Elon Musk think, you know what, let's build a really strange looking car? Or was it more like, with all that competition coming from China, we have to have something that is so unique, so different, that you cannot get it in China. Something that is 100% different from all other EVs. Even better, 100% different from all other car manufacturers. Yeah. But in order to compete with all these nice looking electric cars made in China for a fraction of the money, Tesla looked at the conventional way cars are made and questioned everything. Do we need this? Why? Can we do it better? Can we make the process more cost efficient? This is, for example, one of the reasons why they finally got rid of that steering column connection. Drive-by-wire is a technology around since decades, but nobody had the balls up until now to say, we don't need that physical connection anymore. And here are the reasons why. I mean, if you think about it, if the goal is to have self-driving cars, technically you wouldn't even need a steering wheel. And come on, let's be honest. We have at least as many failure points on a conventional steering as on a steer-by-wire. We just trust mechanical, physical things more. But besides implementing a patented, redundant steer-by-wire system, the Cybertruck is also the first production car that uses 48-volt power over Ethernet, which again saves manufacturing cost, uses less copper, and makes the car lighter. Musk and his team are working very hard to completely overhaul how we build cars. He claims Tesla will cut production cost in half, with 40% less factory floor space needed. So what do you think? Is the Cybertruck just a nice little project of Elon Musk to make a statement? Or is this a very strategic move to stay relevant and innovative in a very competitive EV market and be ready when China opens its floodgates of cheap government subsidized electric vehicles? Thanks for watching. See you next time.